When I saw Linus Sebastian's face right next to $799 for a brand new ARM MacBook on YouTube, I thought the whole internet would be going crazy. However, because it's the weekend, nobody else seems to have picked up on this, so it comes down to me. What makes this even more fun for me is it looks like even the specs of this MacBook have been leaked, so we're going to get into that later in this video. I'm David for Living on iPad, and let's get into it. If this is true, then Apple's new MacBooks powered by their own Apple Silicon are going to be about 20% cheaper than the cheapest MacBook that you can buy right now. And that is a really good deal. In fact, that's going to make it cheaper than the cheapest, smallest iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard and Trackpad that they sell right now. That is exactly why I don't think a touchscreen MacBook is coming first of all. It would be a massive hit to the iPad range, especially as their only real advantage at that point for the iPad Pros would be the portability. The power is definitely going to be there in these Macs that are being released. However, Apple is of course going to have their entry-level iPads still probably starting from around $329. Maybe they're even going to push that down to $300 and upgrade into an A12 chip this year. That would be a hell of a deal if they can do that. I did a bit more digging around online and I managed to find some specs. According to Twitter user Kamiya KJ, which of course begins with the A14X chipset. A 256 or a 512GB option for storage and possibly a 1TB SSD also coming. A 12-inch Retina display, which suggests to me that they'll be using the MacBook's 12-inch chassis. 15 to 20 hours of battery life. A 720p HD FaceTime camera, a single USB-C port, lighter than 1 kilogram and with a 4th generation butterfly keyboard. So there's a couple of disappointments there, or at least concerns for me. The potato FaceTime cameras not being improved, even though these MacBooks will have access to the neural engines that are being included in our iPads and our iPhones at this point. The neural engine is what makes the cameras so good in our iOS devices, so the fact that they're still going to put in that crappy 720p webcam is a bit of a disappointment, but perhaps that's how they're going to differentiate versus the iPads. The other thing being the 4th generation butterfly keyboard. They have got better, but the keyboards that have been included in MacBook Pros, MacBooks and the MacBook Airs, they've certainly been a lot less reliable than what we've been used to from Apple with their MacBooks in the past pre-2015. Also, having just one USB-C port means that you have to choose between charging or using peripherals or external storage, unless you're using quite a substantial USB hub in your home, which it could well be a useful way of doing things. However, my phone is ringing. With just one USB-C port, it's going to make it really difficult for anyone who needs to choose between charging or using peripherals or using external storage. And with a 256 or a 512GB hard drive, you are probably going to need to connect to external storage for a lot of tasks, especially as these processors have got the power to do video editing. However, if you've got a decent dock at home and it can be a laptop that you can take with you when you need to, or dock it into an external display when you're at your desk, that is going to be a pretty compelling option as long as you can get power straight into that dock and you can charge through it. That is going to be a really, really useful kind of desktop, mobile kind of experience that you can use in both situations. With 15 to 20 hours of battery life, this is clearly a machine for those on the go, and the very lightweight chassis is easy to throw in your bag, but with performance for everything that you need. So the A12X chip that's currently in the iPad Pros and the A12Z that's in the development kit for macOS running on Apple Silicon uses, it's the A12Z, which is what's in the iPad Pros right now. It's basically an all-processor enabled version of the A12X, and that is quite capable of running 3 streams of 4K for video editing, no problems whatsoever. They showed it running Final Cut Pro as well at the Worldwide Developers Conference, so it has got the power to do what people need to do when they're editing their videos. I'd also expect that this is going to come with the latest Wi-Fi 6 standards, which also means if you are at home or you have access to the internet, it will be not too much of a bind to grab the files that you need from a server and edit them on your system, or even edit them over the network if you're on a fast network at home or at the office. I am personally super excited for these to be released. I cannot wait My iMac is very much in need of a replacement at this point. It's a 2013, which means it's not capable of running Big Sur, which is a huge disappointment to me. I've managed to get it running on a kind of external hard drive just as a tester, but it's obviously not going to be a permanent solution. So I'm very, very excited to get my hands on an Apple Silicon Mac. It is going to be my new daily driver. I don't know if it's going to be this or if it's going to be the also rumoured 13-inch MacBook Pro, which looks like it's going to be coming out at around $10.99, $7.99 for this thing. That is a really compelling option. $10.99, which is another $200 off the current pricing. This is the difference that using Apple Silicon is going to make compared to Apple having to buy in from Intel. They've got TSMC making their chips, they've got huge amounts of scale already in place, and this is going to be a game changer. I cannot wait to see exactly what they come out with, how it compares to Intel MacBooks that have got dedicated graphics, or the Intel integrated graphics, because Apple is going to be using Metal. They're going to be using internal graphics processors like they have done on the iPhone and the iPad, which give brilliant performance. I haven't seen how it works over multiple screens. That's going to be something else that's interesting to see. But if you are as excited as I am for the next phase of Apple's development, please hit like on the video, hit subscribe if you want to find out more, because we're going to have more of this information coming out over the coming weeks. And if you don't want to miss any, hit subscribe, hit that bell, and I'd love to see you on the next video.